Who Day? First Who Day of the 2025 NFL season because training camp kicked off today.
Yes, sir.
Can't even lie to you, man. I'm really excited to be here with my brother. I'm your host, Rich. It's my brother, Philly Phil.
Yes, sir.
Phil,
We
we back
back.
for another season 2 of Gridiron Jungle podcast.
Okay.
Season 2, we back at it again, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, man. Feeling like season 2 of quarterback, man. I'm feeling like Shiesty. I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to play more preseason than I ever played. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready.
Hey, I'm with it, man. It's time to win that MVP this year. Enjoyed our off season. I think you last heard from us around the draft. Maybe we had a conversation after that. I can't remember.
The schedule release, that was the
Schedule
last
release,
joint. Yep.
schedule release. But outside of that, we've been enjoying our off season. Now it's time to report back. Phil and myself, well, we wholeheartedly plan to discuss Bengals football, which means Bengals are on the field playing until the middle of February.
Yes, sir.
That is the plan for this season. We're going to get into opening day of training camp. And we're also, until the season comes around, the official week 1, we'll be rolling out every week a top 10 list. It is list season. We're going to start with NFL head coaches this week and set this up real nice for everyone. But before we get going, we appreciate all of y'all for the, accepting the hiatus. Please remember to like, subscribe, share. If you know a Bengals fan, even if you're not one, share it with them. Looking forward to having these conversations, making sure all of y'all are a part of it. And you mentioned it, Phil, but I wanted to know, we talked about it briefly, but I didn't confirm. Did you watch Quarterback on Netflix?
Yes, I completed it. I watched the whole thing. Yes, indeed.
What were your thoughts on it?
Man, so first off, I'm gonna preface it with this. I didn't watch season 1. So this is my first exposure to quarterback. I didn't watch receiver, so I haven't seen any of these productions. So I thought it was wonderful. I like that you had not only 3 totally different quarterbacks, but you had Goff, who was, really in the mix the whole year. They was, fighting for that 1 seed the whole season.
Goff wasn't even a star.
No,
a star. His girl took that over.
Facts. And then you had Cousins, who was that veteran that, maybe got a raw deal as far as kind of losing his spot due to injury. And then Burrow, who is, supposed to be that guy, obviously the most heralded one, but was kind of in that middle, kind of just fighting against, themselves the entire season. You revisited the slow start, the robbery and all of that. I just thought it was really cool, just the different stories and the different levels of quarterback. It confirmed how corny I thought Kirk Cousins was, which was cool because that's why I like him. You know what I mean? And it just showed how true he was to himself. I loved how humble he was about his family. It was just dope. And I didn't really feel any type of way about Goff before, and I got a little appreciation for him. I like the little chip he played with. He seemed like a chill dude. He just want to, it's ball and his girl, and I like that. Like that was a cool, thing. I didn't know what he would be like, and then even though we didn't get to see that much in the Burrow's life, we got to see him and his parents' relationship. I thought it was cool that he still, is tight with his high school buddies. That was super dope to me. Granted, he's not as far removed from high school as we are, but it's cool that he has that group to keep him grounded. And I just thought it was a really great production overall, for sure.
I feel the same. Yeah. You described it to a T. Kirk Cousins, faith, family, football. That was shown throughout. Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I have a lot of respect for Jared Goff. I think he's a great player. He's almost like the Doug Flutie type, where you rooting for him, but you just know he ain't going to get there. He has the team to get there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it like that, but Jared Goff, for some reason, it's like he got all the tools, but he doesn't wow me as a quarterback. As someone who was a former number 1 pick, if he was a 3rd rounder or whatever, you would say he overachieved and he's doing great, but as a former number 1 overall pick, and that's not to throw any shade at him. I just, it's always funny to see him. But I do think he's improved every year, and I didn't think he had that in him. Yeah. I thought he was going to crumble after that LA trade.
Not for real.
I thought he was going to crumble. So to see him have that dog in him, I did appreciate him. And I was like, you know what? If I was a Detroit fan, I'd be riding with 16.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'd be riding with 16. And of course, one, it just showed me we got the coolest quarterback on the planet. But I'll tell you what, really, it was a little bit haunting, Phil, because Jared Goff in quarterback on the final episode, he talked about, it was just after their loss to Washington. He talked about, there's only going to be one team that's happy. Okay. I think Kirk Cousins said it. Cousins said, Mike Shanahan said there's only one team that's happy. And then Jared Goff came in and said, the best thing about this sport is we get to come back. Everybody starts 0-0 next year. We get to come back. And after a year like we had, I kind of flushed it down the toilet, and I was just ready for the get back. Yeah. And rewatching it reminded me, how good Joe Burrow was last year. Like, I almost forgot how good he was, especially down the stretch. Yeah. And how disappointing of a season it was when it comes to so many games that we should have been in. And so many games we could have won, but we just didn't get that bounce. We just didn't make that play. We just didn't make that catch. We couldn't hold on to the ball. Whatever the case may be, we didn't get the break from the refs. It was just one of those seasons for us, man. And I'm really looking forward to a fresh start. And hopefully everybody knows and appreciates, hey, we can't do that again. Facts. We got way too much talent. We can't do that again. But I love the production. I love just seeing somebody as reserved as Joe and doesn't like much in his private life to even get that kind of access that we got. Yeah. I thought that was really cool, man, to see everything play out. And man. Shout out to quarterback. Shout out to Peyton Manning. Yeah. And I think the other guy produces that as well. Yeah, he does for sure. Yeah, whatever. Either way. Check out Quarterback on Netflix if you haven't. 7 episodes, real easy. If you love football, it'll be easy. I might go back and watch Quarterback season 1 and Receiver. Same. Just because I did start season 1, so I'm gonna make sure I get back into it because I just thought it was real well put together, and I'm interested in seeing just that perspective about other quarterbacks because definitely gave me some insight and just allowed me to see them in a different light than we normally see them in. So I thought it was cool. For sure, man. Before we get to training camp, we got to start with the massive elephants in the room. Trey Hendrickson is not at camp. Shemar Stewart, 2025 first-round pick. Contract is not signed. He also is not at camp. Not a surprise. We saw this coming, but you do have to wonder, what's the end game here? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's – and when I say we, I'm not talking about Trey. I'm talking about everybody involved. Like, do we have a plan going into this? Are there serious suitors for a trade? Does it reach a point where I don't want to say take pennies on the dollar, but maybe back off your stance of what you're asking for Trey and just take a good deal? I don't think that I can't see any percentage, maybe 1% chance that Trey plays on his contract. He's not playing for $16 million, not after the contracts we've seen. Crosby, Garrett, Watt just got a big deal. Like, I don't see that coming. Mike is about to get paid. So that's going to be another thing. We learned this last year with the Jamar. Like, you just it's not coming down. Now to Trey's defense, Trey's always said, I'm not looking for that type of money. I want some long-term guarantees. I want a contract with some length to it, and I want some guarantees. I said a contract. No, fair, I want a contract. It was the face. The face threw me off. And I'm gonna stop myself. And now I've got a clearer picture. And what I've been asking for from Trey is obvious. He wants guarantees into that second season and beyond. And the Bengals aren't going. It's the same situation they had with Bates. They weren't going into that second year with guarantees. And that was with Jesse Bates, somebody that didn't miss games, somebody that was literally the perfect safety for your team. Literally, and not to take anything away from Trey because he's got the sack production and he is a very important piece and a leader as far as, the way that he carries himself, maybe not so much vocally, but he leads by example. So he is important, but the Bengals they're not moving past that. So you'd be better off taking the higher dollar amount that's allegedly been offered because he's coming out saying, well, I'm not asking for, X amount. Well, that's cool. We're willing to give you that. We're not willing to move off the guarantees. So there's got to be some give and take. And just because you're willing to give doesn't mean that's what I want to take. So, the Bengals have all the leverage. The only way that I see Trey playing on this deal
We talked about it in group chats. The only way I see Trey playing under this deal is if he sits out, continues this holdout and plays whatever that minimum number of games he has to play to fulfill his contract, 9 games, 10 games, whatever. I forget what the week cutoff is for it to count, but I think that's potentially what you're looking at, and that may not be terrible. You know what I mean? There's a lot of untapped potential I think that we have at edge. So, if Trey wants to go this route, I don't think it helps him.
Yeah. It's funny because in basketball news, they were talking about that's a whole I'll save that opinion. But Mike Brown, I want to get your thoughts on this. Mike Brown came out because 3 days ago it was almost teased that a deal was done.
It seemed like it,
close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Brown was quoted on Trey Hendrickson saying, "We're not going to trade Trey. We're working on getting this done." He said, as far as negotiation goes, he said, "We've been through a few," and he pushes hard. He gets emotional. We never have an easy time of it. And if there's one thing that is consistent, it's always get done. It always gets done. I think this one will too. Interesting quote from Mike Brown, because we really don't hear from Mike when it comes to this. And that just lets me know that the Bengals are trying something. I would love to know what the holdup is. I know you just mentioned guarantees and going past the second year. I wonder if that's genuinely the case, or maybe there are some guarantees, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We'll see how it works out. But what are you thinking? We'll get to the Shemar of it all. And it's kind of go hands in hand with Dan Hort's day one observations, because I wanted to get your thoughts on what are you thinking about our season without Trey. But according to practice today, defense looked good. Mainly secondary, but defense looked good. So how are you feeling about our edge rush and our defense overall if Trey does not practice or sits out a number of games?
The thing is, I really like Joseph Asai. I don't think Joseph Asai got to play enough edge last year because of Sam Hubbard and the favoritism that Lou Anarumo constantly showed. I don't think Miles Murphy got enough snaps. He performed well in his pass rush opportunities. Granted, he didn't have any sacks, but he was, he was getting wins. He was getting pressure. But, he needs reps. He needs time on task. And, if Shemar is in the mix, which I think he will be at some point, but I don't know how far behind he'll be. But even, I think there's ways that you can manufacture pressure with this defense and with the players that you have, even if it has to come from a linebacker position. Because, Notre Dame didn't have any premier edge rushers, on that team, and they still had adequate defense. That secondary was unreal, and it wasn't as good as it was with no pressure. You know what I mean? So I feel much better about the defense without Trey, given you have the change at coordinator with Golden, just because I've never heard this much buzz during the offseason from defensive players about like the way they feel going into the season. Like Logan Wilson had nothing but glowing things to say, very positive. Ted Karras went out of his way today to compliment Demetrius Knight and how good he looked in the first day of camp. Geno Stone was blitzing, Cam Taylor-Britt was all over the field making plays. So, to see those guys playing loose, playing free, granted, defenses typically start out better than offenses in camp, but this is an offense returning all of the same guys. This is continuity. This isn't nothing new like it has been in seasons past, or dealing with the holdout or hold in with Jamar last year, or T missing from being, having nagging injuries. So I think that's all positive things. Now it's day one. I don't want to, get too excited about it, but I definitely think it should give you something to pay attention to and have a little bit of confidence about. So we were a bottom 5 defense with Trey last year. I don't feel any worse about the defense without him than I did, last season. So
yeah, I was talking to somebody. I was talking to somebody at work. He's a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
He was asking me, what's going on with Trey and the rookie and all that stuff. And I'm like, listen, man, I don't know how it's going to look. Maybe we give up 80 points, but guess what? We can score 81.
There you go.
And that was my answer to him. Like, that's kind of where I am with it. We went through that last season and we saw when the team is locked in, we just need a couple stops. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. That's not the ideal way that you want to go
not
through
at
your
all.
season. I want to say it like that, but there is some comfort in knowing that you have that break in case of emergency when it comes to our offense and the continuity that comes there. Shemar, where are you with all of this? It's I was reminded about the Andre Smith holdout. I think that was 2006. Can't remember what year that was. He was a 6th overall pick, and he didn't show up until like 3 weeks into the season. I can't remember what the details were. Andre Smith, whatever. But yeah, where are you with Shemar, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, and that was a different time with Andre Smith. A different CBA, things weren't slotted the way they are now. Honestly, Shamar's a young kid. He seems like a really good kid. He seems like I don't want to call him a kid. He seems like a good young man. Seems like he wants to be out there and be with his teammate and building these relationships. But I'll be honest, I think his agent is an idiot. And I know that's
Ace Bailey's agent.
Yeah, the white version. Yeah, and it's been, and I know he's taking a lot of heat from the Bengals media and the Bengals front office and that sort of thing, but the proof is in the pudding. I mean, he can't get James Cook an extension. I think the day after Zay Flowers switched agents from Zach Hiller, he got a deal done, like literally like the next day. He couldn't get a good deal for J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins just had to take scraps and go join Denver as kind of like reinforcements to that backfield, coming off his best season, comeback player of the year. I mean, this guy is he's just not good at his job. His best clients are retired. So, I think, as Duke said, I think he's getting bad advice. And I can't be mad at Shemar for that. Sometimes you get a bad real estate agent. Sometimes you get a bad tax person. Sometimes you get a bad accountant, but you're paying for that advice and you're supposed to follow that advice. And I think he just picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I mean, his approach, especially with the Bengals, is just all wrong. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be real with y'all. This is like a nothing burger to me.
Yeah.
For a few reasons. One, from our draft episode, we weren't even fans of Shemar. No offense to him. Just didn't see the fit. Just didn't see. I wasn't overly excited about the pick. If he shows up, that's great. If he doesn't, cool. Like, I'm not really moved by it one way or another. I didn't expect him to come in and be rookie of the year. I think I said it on the episode. I'm more excited about Demetrius Knight on our defense as far as the rookies go than I am Shemar Stewart. I hope he works out. I think it's to the point of no return. Now, anything can happen with a relationship, especially over a span of a rookie contract. But we kind of joked around with it. Like, listen, even if he does sign this first one, there will not be a second one with the Bengals.
No,
so it's kind of like the writing's on the wall where it is what it is. Whatever you want to do, do it. I can't focus on that. And really feel it comes down to the most upsetting thing is not that he hasn't signed the contract, is that we enter another offseason, which is unnecessary nonsense. The trade thing, that's been brewing. But this is one we didn't see coming. And it's just like, it's just unnecessary for us to be really spending time talking about it. So when Shemar wants to show up and stop listening to the advice and follow his dream of being in the NFL, he'll show up to camp. Until then, he can sit it out. He can be a step behind. Your rookie year, you're falling behind like this. It is what it is. I want to be clear. If you feel something's unfair and you think something's a bad deal and you don't want to sign it, then don't sign it.
Right.
Like, if that's what you feel in your heart of hearts, by all means, I'm never going to stop you from your business. I'm just saying, don't be mad when you put yourself way behind the 8 ball when it is time to gear it up and it is time to play. Availability is the best ability. A lot of guys in camp that are fighting for roster spots are showing that they can prove it in the NFL. They're going to be playing at their end position. And they're going to be trying to prove it. Are you that good coming off the street? We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. I hope it works out. I hope he's on our field. I love the depth. We need the edge rush. Maybe he's a all rookie, maybe rookie of the year candidate. Who knows? Yeah. But it is what it is. I don't really think I have more to say about it until we get a resolution.
And one thing about his agent, Zach Hiller, because I want to double down on him because he's just terrible. According to the NFLPA site, he's been an NFLPA certified agent since 2014, and he's negotiated 9 contracts.
That's insane.
9 contracts.
Yeah, that's
Now,
insane.
granted, you make good money as an agent. They're signing big deals, but I mean, this this is a JV agent trying to play
Court,
varsity.
he's a court-appointed lawyer.
Yeah, it's
He's a
like
court-appointed lawyer.
no offense to those, you know what I'm saying? But
Nah, but you
yeah,
know when you got that charge and you see
you
that
going to
dude
jail.
with the sloppy untailored
You
suit,
going to jail.
tie got coffee. Yeah, you going to jail, bro. His folders are falling out on the ground. He's trying to pick everything up, bro. Yeah, you going to jail. And
Facts.
Shamar's in football jail right now.
He going to jail.
We'll see what happens.
Word to Mike Brown.
Yeah, man. Let's get into training camp, man. I guess real quick, I do want to mention a couple of players. Dax Hill.
Yeah.
Dax Hill, he's on the field. He's at practice. Expecting him to be cleared for, I think they said week 1. He tore his ACL week 5 of last year. He's expected to be cleared for week 1. Excited to hear that. That's big news. I think Golden mentioned that BJ Hill would be good to go. So it looks like everybody is up and running and going to be ready to go. I want to ask you about this offensive line at first practice today.
Yeah.
Starting offensive line, left tackle Orlando Brown Jr., left guard Dylan Fairchild, rookie, center Ted Karras, right guard Cody Forge, your man's, and right tackle Amarius Mills. How are you feeling about that 5 as we start out camp?
Outside of your man's Cody Ford, I really like it. But the right guard position for me is the one that I really, have the biggest question about. And honestly, I think that's kind of just a formality day one. I do think Lucas Patrick will probably be taking reps there tomorrow with the first team. I know he worked with some with the centers today, and got some looks at center. So I don't know what that means for Matt Hill. I don't know what that means for Lucas Patrick. Again, maybe they're just trying to, cover all their bases there. But if this was the O-line that we ran out week 1, I'd be okay with that. I definitely like Cody Ford much better at a guard spot than at a tackle spot, being a swing tackle. So, as long as Fairchild is who we expect him to be and who we think him to be, then I'd be confident with that offensive line. I did see that Jalen Rivers has been working mainly with the tackles. So, I would really love to see him play a little bit at guard, but I know we kind of really have a need at that swing and backup tackle more so than the guard, even though, we're more top heavy at the tackle position than we are at guard. But it's going to be interesting to see how that room kind of just overall rounds out. But, right now, talking on July 23rd, I feel good. I feel good about that group of 5 there. I think it's adequate and I think it's improved. So
yeah, it's legit day 1. If our only think about where we were 3 years ago, so if my only concern is Cody Ford, which we like to be difficult on Cody, but really wasn't terrible down the stretch.
Yeah.
An average NFL guard, which not everybody can be great. I'm not mad at that. I think Fairchild's going to be good, and I think Karras has been who he is, and he's a leader and knows how to run that offense, has the connection with the line, and then our outsides, I think, are studs. So I think we're good in that sense. Obviously, our guard plays where we needed the help, but I think Fairchild cleans that up. Hopefully, the offensive game can kind of work around Cody Ford, or maybe he just steps up and says, I'm going to take another level. So that could be happening. I don't know what's going to happen. We do have a couple injuries. So Seth McLaughlin, he's a center, but I always thought maybe he could play some guard if it came down to it. I never expected him to start. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it like that, but maybe as some backup, or and that's even if he makes the team. I'm not even sure if Seth's going to make the team. So we'll see what happens. But Zach Moss is obviously going to start the season on the injury list, and then we also have Eric All Jr., who we already know is not going to play at all this year, which leads me into Phil Noah Fant.
Yes, sir.
Was he here already for a visit? Is it scheduled?
I believe he's visiting tomorrow. So, looking forward to that. Hopefully they don't let him out the building. I think that's the perfect Eric All replacement. I was talking to a buddy earlier today and I called him Eric All Senior. I think he's really that same type of tight end. He can do it all. He can block, he can catch. I think he's really been underutilized his entire career, kind of like Mike Gesicki before he got here. So really would love Fant on a 1-year deal. I think he could reestablish his market with a good season. Even as a tight end 2 type situation, because I definitely think that's what he is. And he allows you to get back to playing a lot of that 12 personnel that we saw that they really wanted to do with Eric Gall. So I would love for it to happen. I think it makes sense for both sides. I think it's a win-win. And I've been wanting Noah Fant since he came in the league. Pause. I think he'd just be the perfect fit for our offense. And like I said, I think he can rebuild his value here in a great way. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
I've always been a Noah Fant guy. I just
Mhm.
finally cut him from my dynasty fantasy roster this
right.
past season. Man, I was holding on to Noah Fant for the longest because I thought he was always just one quarterbacker situation from taking
Mhm.
over. Comes from
Mhm.
that lineage of Iowa tight ends. When you're talking about Laporta, Kittle, uh, why can't I think of the other one?
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson, yeah.
Yep.
He
Mhm.
played in that era with all of
Yep.
them, so
Yep.
he was going to be the next one out. He hasn't had that opportunity, so I think it would be great to see him here. And he's only 27 years old,
Mhm.
still real young.
Mhm.
We'll see what
Yep. I
happens.
think
We'll
he's
see what
younger than
happens.
Jasicki, I think. So
Yeah, he's 29. Gesicki's
mhm.
29.
There we go.
So I think it'd be a nice 1-2 punch. I'd be interested to see. Uh, Drew is not going anywhere. Drew's going to be who he is, but
Mhm.
I'm interested to see what that would do with Tanner Hudson
Yeah.
and some of the other guys on the roster. And like I said, we already know that Eric All's not going to play at all this year, so
Right.
it'll be interesting to see that out. But shout out to Dan Horde, reporting legend, journalist legend,
Facts.
radio voice,
Voice of the
since
Bengals,
of the
voice of the
Bengals,
Bearcats.
the Bearcats, everything
Mhm.
else. If you follow him on Twitter, because it's always going to be Twitter. If
Yeah.
you follow him on Twitter, it's he always does these observations for training camp. Really good follow if you're a Bengals fans because he's at
Mhm.
every practice and kind of points out things that he sees. Takes a lot of clips in the whole nine. We're probably going to be using a lot of his information, so shout out to Dan. Um, in the meantime, since we're not at every single practice, I know Phil has plans to go to a practice, and I'll probably try to make my way down there at some point to see something as well. But one of the first 5 observations that he had is Chase Brown and the
Mhm.
potential of him breaking James Brooks' all-purpose record, or scrimmage yards record. Excuse me, it's 1,773 yards for James Brooks. It's funny because I just watched a random video on Instagram. Players with the most touchdowns in the 80s, and he was number 5.
Yeah.
James Brooks was a dog. Just want to
Vastly
make sure everybody's
underrated. Yeah.
Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Last year, Chase Brown had 1,350
Mhm.
scrimmage yards. What do you think about this? And I'll let you know right now. I think that it sounds good,
Mhm.
but why am I getting the blank? Taj Brooks, I think, is going to be a very large, uh, you know, wrench in that. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah.
he's going to spoil those plans. I think Taj Brooks is really going to get a lot of work, and he's going to be really good when he does.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Chase Brown could end up getting more touches this year because even though he played 16 games, he was nicked up a little bit. He did miss a, a game and left another game somewhere early. And when you talk about that, him potentially breaking that, scrimmage yards record, that's only an extra 25 yards a game from him combined rushing and receiving. So it's really
Yeah.
not that far fetched.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a couple huge games. He didn't really have those huge games, and it's there, it's definitely in him. But
Oh,
I don't know if this I don't know if this will be the season that he does it, but I do think he has the potential to do that. So
yeah, for sure. He
I like
definitely
that
the potential's there.
observation. I think it's a real cool takeaway. And if Mims becomes, that road grader that we expect him to be, and we see Chase Brown, kind of involved in, I mean, he caught 54 passes last year, so who
I see him
knows?
getting.
That was on like 65 targets. So if he gets another 20 targets,
I was gonna say I see his receptions ticking up a lot this year. Um,
mhm,
nice change of pace as well. I think they want to establish. We've always been screaming for them to establish a run early. Obviously, you got Joe Burrow. One of my favorite moments on quarterback when the Titans asked me, "Don't run it, man." Blank, blank. I'm like, no, we're not doing it. So we
Right,
know that we're
right.
going to pass the ball, but I do think that the offense is going to open up even more for T and Jamar when that run game is established. And that has a lot to do with chasing the pass game as well as the run game and Taj Brooks balancing that out. It's 230 pounds, man. Like at some point, people are going to get tired of tackling that
Yeah,
man. So I
for
think that's
sure.
going to be a nice balance for us. And we'll figure it out from there. But I do like the fact that they want to make him a focal point of the offense because I agree with the article. He did deserve that. He does deserve it. I was a fan of him in Illinois. And we'll just keep it pushing from there. Um, the defense seemed to be the star of the show, Phil. The defense is what really had people going. Geno Stone, which I didn't know he never had an NFL sack.
Never.
Blitzing, you got people running all over the place, making plays. You have Oren Burks had a breakup after Geno Stone blitz. You see Joe scrambling with nowhere to go, having to run out of
Nowhere to
bounds.
go. Yeah.
You see Cam Taylor Britt, and Joe did give credit to the secondary. Like they were real sticky. They were really fired up. You see Cam Taylor Britt, T had the ball and he made a play on the sideline, swipe down. It was an incomplete pass. Not only it wasn't the play, it was the reaction of the sideline. Everybody's juiced up. Now I know that's a traditional first day of camp. We back. I want to see this energy stay throughout. I want the defense to put the newspaper clippings up. I want them to hear about how bad they were, how they're not going to be anything without Trey. I want all of that stuff. I want them to use it as fuel and motivation because, especially our secondary, I really think we can get back to at least the middle of the pack when it comes to defense. And I think half of it is just going to be heart and determination. X's and O's, I think Al's fired up. I think a new voice, somebody who was just saying, hey, this is our strategy now. We're going to lean towards our strength and we're going to go from there. But I'm not as concerned about our defense as I thought I would be. This is a good sign, but don't get us wrong. If probably as early as tomorrow, those reports are going to be Joe Burrow torched the defense today. Because if Joe doesn't take that lightly, and it's good to see them going. But like you said, that offense is going to knock that rust off, and then it's going to be bombs away. And hopefully that's a scary sign for the rest of the league. So we got the defense that I'm excited about. What do you feel about Cam? We were pretty hard, me particularly. We were hard on Cam last year. You buying some of your stock back? You selling it all? Where are you with Cam this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have Cam on my list of players that I put in a box of questions. Will they answer them? So, I think Cam is he's been Jekyll and Hyde. He's had really high highs and he's had really low lows. I mean, there was a point where my younger cousin was telling me he was all pro. He was pro bowler, and then there was moments where you just wanted to go out there and take him off the field yourself, So I think, again, just from hearing the guys talk about the defense, it seems like Al is simplifying a lot of things for him. They're just being able to play fast and not overthinking and not having that analysis paralysis, trying to figure out what's going on, calling multiple plays and figuring out which play to run. So I'm buying stock on CTB. He doesn't seem like his spirit has been broken. He's still bringing that energy, and I know it's only been one day, but it seems like he's really been paying attention to the details and doing the little things. And I think that's what was really hindering him previously. He was kind of just relying on his God-given talent, and now it seems like those study habits have improved, and he's learning what it means to be a pro. And I'm feeling good about him taking a step forward this season, and hopefully answering that question. So
yeah, man. CB1, he got off to a fast start. Y'all remember game 2, had the incredible interception on the sideline. It just kind of fell apart. I think just some of the fundamental stuff. And I think with Al coming in and really putting a lot of attention in the secondary, hopefully he tightens up week to week and can kind of make sure that everything's aligned for what they have going on. So I'm really excited about just everything. It's day 1. So we'll do these week to week. We'll have more to talk about. By the time we record next week, we'll have a whole week of practice underneath the belt. We'll start talking about getting ready for our first preseason game, which is going to be, I think, August 12th or August 5th. I can't remember.
The 7th against Philly.
August 7th. Okay, yeah. So right around the corner. We'll see who plays and all that kind of good stuff. But I'm really excited to see what steps we're taking in camp. And I don't know. Are you at a point where it doesn't matter? Or you just want to start the season off with some wins? Like does camp? How much is if we have a flawless camp? How much is that going to change your outlook on the season? Or are you still like, hey, I don't care about the camp. I got to see us win game 1, game 2, game 3, or at least be 2-1 in those 3.
I think camp matters simply because, as you stated, week 1, week 2, that's been preseason. That's been camp. It almost feels like camp hasn't really even been camp. It's been country club hangout. It's been happy hour. So to see them running 11s day 1, I think that's new. I can't remember a time in the Zach Taylor era where they ran 11s in day 1. Maybe 7s, maybe some simulated. I can't recall ever seeing 11s on day 1. So I definitely think, that exactly, they got to have that sense of urgency. And, I want to see that in camp. I want to have answers going into week 1 and then adjusting from there, not trying to figure things out weeks 1 through 3 and then adjusting, because you're already behind the 8 ball. And we saw how important just one game was, from reliving that pain there in watching quarterback season 2. But really, I'm really interested overall, while we're talking about the corners, to see how Al deploys them. He's been playing CTB in the slot. CTB didn't play a lot of slot. Is DJ Turner going to play outside? Is he going to play inside? How is he going to use Dax? Is Newton going to play more inside, more outside? Or they just going to move them guys all around? So
they say Fig out here.
Yeah,
he going to get there. They say he's going to get there. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but there's a lot of high praise for Newton in the locker room. Not just who he is as a football player and a man.
And speaking of who he is as a player and a man, that leads into another question that I have about the defense is who is going to step up and be that leader? Hubbard is retired. Trey is holding out. Is it BJ Hill?
Jermaine Pratt, he's gone.
Pratt is out of here. Is it BJ Hill? The only name that I've heard mentioned is Josh Newton. He's a young guy. Fig is a young guy, but he's a vocal leader. He's gonna get you riled up. He's gonna give you that good pregame speech. So is it him? Is it CTB? Is it TJ Slayton, the new addition? Because he's a veteran. I don't know. I'm really interested to see that question be answered, and I'm hoping that emerges in camp. Is it Demetrius Knight? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really interested in that from a defensive side. Oh, and I can't forget Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton is gone. All of those leaders, all of those vocal guys, are missing. So
I mean, are you surprised that Mike wasn't re-signed?
I'm not surprised. I don't think he's a fit. And I actually saw him post on IG like his goodbye. I think he officially moved out of the city. And I'm more surprised that he hasn't signed anywhere. That's what's really mind-blowing to me. Because he's still a top 3 slot in the game. Like I mean, it's just really mind-blowing to me. I think he could move to safety even. He's a great tackler. He's smart. He knows where everybody's supposed to be. He's a competitor. And he just does, it does all the little things. And I don't know. I don't know if there's any chance that he could potentially come back, but I that's definitely a guy that I'm missing with. And I'm very interested in seeing where he catches on at. So
that's fair, man. I'm gonna miss Mike, man. Like
sure.
Made a ton of plays for us. Was that leader that you were talking about? Just couldn't hide him anymore. Last season, he just got exposed too many times, and it's not his fault, man. It's just it's hard being 5'8", going up against some of the best athletes in the world.
Sure.
They found ways. The best offensive coaches are going to find ways to get their mismatch, and they proved it a few times. Mike is a dog. Obviously, still got some game left in him, and I hope to see him bounce back and land with the team, even if it is somewhere down the line. So we'll see what happens there. But until then, I don't know if you have anything else to talk about camp. Like I said, it just opened up today, so we'll have much more to talk about next week.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anything else, we can transition into this NFL head coaches list.
Yeah, the only other thing that I was gonna say, I'm just excited to see the impact of the coaching changes that we talked about. Al, the defensive line coach, the offensive line coach, Scott Peters, Jerry Montgomery on the defensive line. So just really excited to see the impact of the defense, and maybe they got a lot to do with the changes that we're seeing in camp. I don't know. So just really interested to see how that impact progresses as we go through camp. So.
Yeah, man. We see, man. It's exciting times. Exciting times. It'll
for sure.
And we're 7 Sundays away. I can't remember, man. I'm excited.
7 Sundays away before the Bengals just control my well-being. So
toxic relationship. But let's go ahead and talk about this. This is something that we're rolling out for season 2 and all future seasons. As the off season comes along and we're opening up training camp every week as we drop an episode, we're going to add in a top 10 list, and we're going to do this for pretty much every position in the NFL. We're going to do head coaches. Obviously, we're starting out there. We're going to end it with the week 1. We're going to end it with quarterbacks, and everything in between. We'll do receivers, or technically pass catchers. So we'll combine tight ends and receivers. We'll do offensive line and defensive line units. We'll do edge rushers. We'll do middle inside linebackers. We'll do secondaries, cornerbacks, and safeties. Just kind of reveal our top 10. Who is that second tier? Who's the cream of the crop? Who's the 1 through 5? But before we even get there, Phil, who are some honorable mentions or some coaches that didn't crack your top 10, but you feel, hey, when we do this episode next year, I'd be shocked if they aren't on this list?
Most definitely. So I'm going to start with that one, who I expect to be on this list next season. And the person that I've got to fill that spot is Ben Johnson, newly appointed head coach of the Chicago Bears. Can't put him on a top 10 list this year. I know he's had a lot of success as an offensive coordinator, but if that can transition, to somewhere like Chicago, then, we got to stamp him and put him on this list. But I got Ben Johnson as my candidate, as my person that I tapped is that I expect to be on this list next season when we're talking about it next July.
I like that. Ben is definitely on my list for that. I also have, he's not on my list this year. I can see him being on there next year, depending on how things go. D'Amico Ryan.
That's my honorable mention.
I like what he's doing in Houston. Also, we can't give it to him, but we'll see how things go year 1 with him. He's been an NFL coach. He won division titles. He's back at home where it all started. I'm a big fan of Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel is a culture builder.
Absolutely.
I can really see him competing for the AFC East, and I would be surprised if he doesn't turn that whole thing around with the talent that they have. And he can be a top 10 coach as far as going into the season. And keep this in mind, y'all. I didn't necessarily clarify. We're not talking about overall legacy, right? So it's a different list if we just talk about overall top 10 coaches, take all their accolades. We're talking about what have you done for us lately. So there are some coaches, as we get into honorable mentions, that have a storied history, a great resume. But over the past couple of years, I'm kind of shaky on them. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's 3 coaches that probably would be on a lot of people's top 10 lists, maybe one not so much, that they didn't make mine. I'm going to make them honorable mentions. And one in particular, he's like that last honorable mention. I just want to give him credit because I think he's super underrated. Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is really underrated. But Sean McDermott for the Bills. Yeah, that's fair. Sean McDermott of the Bills. Kevin,
I love him as a DC, though.
Yeah. I just think what he was doing in Tampa is kind of impressive. I was kind of shocked
for sure
after Brady retiring what they're doing, but he's not. I don't think he's making top 10. He is who we've seen enough of him to know he is who he is. But Sean McDermott, Kevin Stefanski, and Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan might be a shock to some. This isn't, like I said, this is not overall. I think if you talk about just top 10 coaches as far as resume and pedigree, I think Shanahan's in there. I think as far as what have you done for me lately, I don't know, man. Shanahan just has a history of not getting it done. And at some point, I have to consider that. Yes, there's injuries and there's also roster concerns and other things, but there is something about his style that just hasn't gotten him over the hump. Do I put faith in him? If you told me right now that Kyle Shanahan is about to coach the Bengals, how much more excited am I than what I am right now? Yes, I'm more excited, but I'm more excited, but I'm not going Super Bowl and all that.
I'm to
Like, we still got to
the
prove it.
moon. I'm to
That's
the
fair.
moon.
That's fair. That's fair. But I'm not. It wouldn't be like if you told me McVay was coming, then you couldn't tell me nothing.
That's you know, that's
you couldn't tell me nothing if you told me McVay. So that's what I mean. Like it would be an upgrade. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to dog Shanahan. He is who he is, and he's comes from a great football mind and family. But I just think he's at this point in 2025, he can easily be right back in the top 10, let alone top 5 next year. But right now, I ain't there. Same. Everybody says Stefanski is a good coach, and I get that. You got to put that to numbers at some point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. Stefanski probably gets the most excuses out of anybody in the NFL. I don't think he should be fired. I want to say that. I do think he has had a rough batch, but I don't see him with a completely healthy roster, like just running through the league. Once again, can he be that guy? Sure. Did he win? Did he win Coach of the Year the one year they went to the playoffs?
He won Coach of the Year 2 times.
Yeah, man. See, and whatever. Cool. What have you done? All right, cool, straight. It's a tough league, man. It's a tough league to coach in. And then McDermott's the same way.
He's the only coach on my list that is a 2-time winner. So
that's fair. That's fair. Listen, I get it. If people are gonna give me something for this list, I understand it. But when I look over at that sideline on week 1 on September 7th, I'm gonna say you're a bum and you can't beat us.
Yeah. I'm gonna say anybody representing Cleveland that. I'm gonna tell him. That's just what it is.
In all seriousness, all 3 of those coaches, outside of Shanahan, I think Shanahan does deserve a lot more credit. But all 3 of those, or Stefanski and McDermott in particular, got a win it game. And I know we're coaching against them. I'm not really concerned.
That's fair.
And I think everybody else in my top 10, they do put a little bit of concern in me. Not everybody, certainly my top 5, but that's it. So let's get into the list. You want to start it off? You want to start at number 10? You want me to start at my number 10?
I can start at number 10.
Go ahead.
This may be surprising, but my number 10 is Jim Harbaugh. That's who I got at number 10. He won Coach of the Year in 2011. I know we're not talking about legacy, but in his first season back last year, the Chargers went 11-6, made the playoffs, and they pissed down their leg and blew that game in the playoffs. But for him to come back from winning the national championship at the college ranks, come take over a team, the Chargers, and their expectations were what they were. But for him to come back and have that type of success after as much time as he took away in season 1, I can't not put Jim Harbaugh on this list. 57, 29, and 1 as an NFL coach, and just has won every single place that he's been. And I love the style. I love the way that the guys follow him, the way that they buy into him. You don't see many guys that can lead men at the college level and at the NFL level. And for that reason, I got Jim Harbaugh number 10, and I expect him to be higher on this list when we talk next season.
I'll tell you right now, he's higher on my list. We'll talk about it when we get there. It's going to shock a lot of people. Sure. Mine is, I love this person as an individual. Love him as an individual. Can't ignore. And you can make an argument, man, hey, maybe he shouldn't even been on the 10. Out of respect, I got him at number 10. Incredible coach. Just hasn't been putting it together recently. The past 5 playoff appearances, he's 0-5. A couple of those as a 1 seed. All wild card losses for the most part. I think all of them were wild card, except for that 2017 appearance in the divisional game where he lost at home. I run through a brick wall for him, but I don't know. The clock is ticking. That's Mike Tomlin. That's Mike Tomlin, man.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin's number 10. I said, this is a legacy list.
Yeah.
Whole different list. He's much, much higher.
Yeah.
What have you done for me lately? Yeah, we can compete. Yeah, we can make the playoffs. He has been making the playoffs. So 4 of the 5 past seasons since 2020, he has made the playoffs. 12-4 in 2020. Yeah, 12-4 in 2020. 9-7-1 in 2021. Also want to mention 2020, they won the AFC North. 9-8 in 2022, missed the playoffs. 10-7, 2023, third in the AFC North. 10-7 in 2024, second in the AFC North. No playoff wins in that span. I'm sorry. Those teams have been talented. They give you fits. Got to get over that hump somehow. I know a lot of conversation has been, hey, has he just outworn his welcome? It's hard to be at one place for that long. He does have a Super Bowl ring.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But going into 2025, I'm putting him at number 10 because at any given week, he's going to be there, going to be competed. There's going to be a point when it's week 10 and week 11, we're going to say, man, Tomlin's doing it again. Mm-hmm. He's doing it again. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to get to a point in January where it's like, he did it again. Bro. Can't get past the hump. Right. So respect the Tomlin, but he's number 10.
Right. Hey, right. I love it.
You know,
number 9.
Getting a little spicy.
Number 9. It may be a little early, but I've got Kevin O'Connell as my number 9 on my list. He was 2024 Coach of the Year.
We share the same number 9. So
there we go. There we go. 2024 Coach of the Year. He's 34-19. Everybody knows, it's well documented how much I think Sam Darnold stinks. So to have the success that he's had with Sam Darnold running the show is just crazy impressive. He's X and O guy, maybe Sean McVay light. Just his ability to, get guys open, the scheme against defenses, against really good defenses. I mean, he's just very impressive. I expect to see him continue to climb this list as, that team continues to get, more pieces and build up. They got a lot of good talent, but just to see them continue to grow, see how JJ McCarthy comes along, I'm really interested in that. And, depending upon how he can develop him, I think will, determine how he moves about on this list. So I got Kevin O'Connell at 9.
I agree with everything you said. I'm a big Kevin O'Connell fan. I've told you that numerous times, just off mic. This will be his 4th season in the 3 seasons that he's been coaching, 34-17. First year went 13-4, won the NFC North. Second season 7-10, missed the playoffs. Third season 14-3. And it's funny because when you only follow one team, like specifically, you keep your eye on the rest of the league. Excuse me. Keep your eye on the rest of the league, but I'm only really in the trenches with the Bengals. Watching quarterback reminded me of how bad of a break that the Vikings caught with a 14-2 record going into the last week of the season, and that's the difference between a 1 seed and playing on the road. That team was good last year. Did I think they were going to win the Super Bowl? I think in the first half of the season, I thought they were contenders. I don't think they had enough to get over the hump, but I think Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer. He made Sam Darnold stop seeing ghosts. I'm very interested to see what he does with JJ. He has all the weapons that he wants. That offense is actually loaded. So we'll see what they put together. But I'm really excited about Kevin O'Connell. I almost considered swapping him with my number 8. But I'll let that play out because I don't know, for some reason I'm a big fan of I think he's a good coach. But who was your number 8?
My number 8 is the kneecap biting tight end playing. I got Dan Campbell as my number 8, man. I know he don't have any accolades. He's 46-37-1 in his time with the Detroit Lions as a head coach. And you mentioned culture builder earlier. This guy is the definition of a culture builder. To be able to take an outcast like Jared Goff and, put him in a position to lead your team and really build those pieces around him and to set that mindset, to set that tone that he set from day one in his press conference where people was like, what? I was like, this is a terrible hire. The Lions are going in the ground. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and for him to have the success that he's had, for them, I mean, they're a popular Super Bowl pick each and every year. And I think that's a true testament to him and how he replaces his 2 coordinators this year and how this team goes, having to move on from Ben Johnson, having to move on from Aaron Glenn. It's going to be, I'm really interested to see how he progresses from there and what that looks like. Because I think that's a true testament to any coach, to anybody that's leading the organization. Being able to replace your leaders that are right up under you is very, very difficult to do. So I got Dan Campbell at number 8. I fought myself with it, but I got him at number 8.
Hey, man, don't fight yourself. Campbell's on my list, and we're not there yet.
Okay.
So that's all I got to say about that. My number 8, which is probably going to be a surprise to some people, because they might say, hey, you left Shanahan off this list, but you put him on here.
Yeah.
And that's Shanahan's BFF, one of his best buddies, came in the league scorching hot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when a certain Hall of Fame quarterback was still his quarterback. Came in with 3 straight NFC North titles, missed the playoffs, and then had 2 back-to-back winning seasons. Now, last season, we just talked about the NFC North was historically good.
Mm-hmm.
The third place team was 11-6, and that's the Green Bay Packers, coached by Matt LaFleur. I think Matt LaFleur is somebody who is going to surprise people with the Green Bay Packers this year. I really think that Jordan Love is a dark horse MVP candidate. And I think a lot of that. Look at you, man. I know you ready to get over. I know it sounds crazy. Yeah. All right. But I really think LaFleur is a good football coach. I think what he did with that team last year to go 11-6 is crazy. I think the fact that he had some good teams on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show-it year. He could easily fall out of this top 10 next year. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't even an honorable mention. But for some reason, this is my one gut pick.
Mm-hmm.
I had one gut pick that I just say,
fair.
you know what? I just got a good feeling about him. Same in fantasy, right? We talk about our dynasty league all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had Jordan Love. I traded him for Jalen Hurts and some other. I traded Love and some other things for Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I really struggle with that decision because I think Jordan Love is going to be great this season. I think a big part of it is going to be LaFleur and how he handles things. But that might be the most unpopular pick. But Matt LaFleur is at number 8, man.
Hey, I mean, he always finds a way. As much as I dislike him, I really hope Lombardi and Big Daddy hear this portion. If nothing else, I really hope this makes their way to them because I just want, I just want to hear. I want them to hear someone say
it's nonsense. Like I can't justify it. Is that,
no. I mean, it's justifiable. I just it's crazy myself to do it. So
it's crazy. It's a little bit crazy. But, and I expect to hear about that. But it is what it is. Maybe some people will say it's not as crazy as I think. But like I said, the past 2 seasons, second in the NFC North, then third in the NFC North. He had a better record last year in the lower division winning than he did the year before. 67-33 in his career. But like I said, those first 3 years really don't mean anything because what have you done for me lately? Past 3 years, missed playoffs, 9-8, 11-6. That's why he's so low on the list. But I think he can get some things done.
For sure. Speaking of what have you done for me lately, you're going to hate this pick for that reason. And I'm going with the guy you just finished trashing not that long ago. I'm going with the 2-time. I'm going with Kevin Stefanski.
Okay.
The only 2-time coach of the year on this list. He is on 41-46 career as a head coach. However, 2020, this man took over the Browns and,
didn't they win a playoff game that year?
Yeah, they went to the playoffs. They went to the playoffs and won a playoff game. And they won his debut against us, 35-30. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to have any success in Cleveland is just weighted on a scale that's just you can't even picture. It's a scale they weigh the whales with. You know what I'm saying? So to have success in Cleveland is just insane. Period. So I know they went 3-14 last year. They had a lot going on, as much as any team could possibly have going on with the Deshaun situation, with him getting injured, with all the different quarterbacks. I mean, this dude made the playoffs with 5 different quarterbacks. So, he took the Browns to the playoffs twice. That's just crazy. Within 5 years, like that's insane. The fact that I'm even saying that out loud is insane. So for that alone, Kevin Stefanski is definitely on my list, and I slotted him at number 7. So yeah,
I'm not mad at it. I can't say anything. I that was one where I was like, man, I don't know if I can put him on the list, but you are right. He's a very good coach, 2-time coach of the year. We'll see what he does this season. My number 7 is your number 8. Dan Campbell.
Okay.
Reminds me a lot. I think you might have just said this in regards to Tomlin just being that motivator, cultural builder. Mm-hmm. The reason why Campbell is higher because Campbell has been showing improvement.
Yep.
The big reason why he's number 7, honestly, because I don't know, and this is I don't want to accuse him of not being that involved in the X's and O's, but I don't know how involved he is in the
Right.
X's and O's.
Right.
I can tell you he's a hell of a leader of men. He's a great motivator. And the improvement has been there. If you remember Hard Knocks, for y'all who watched it, the infamous Jamal Williams crying, as far as like passionate crying, not like boo-boo, but passionate crying, because they were building something from the ground up. And they were bad, like really bad. They were 3-13-1 in that first season. But towards the end of that first season, you knew, like, man, they got something. They building something. I'm at least paying attention to it. And then he got, I think, signed. Did he get an extension after that? Maybe I can't remember. But either way, went 9-8 in the second season, second in the NFC North. Past 2 seasons, 12-5, 15-2, back-to-back NFC North champions. So once again, taking over the team in 2021. Started 3-13-1, then went 9-8, then went 12-5, then went 15-2. He's been improving every single year. I got to give him some credit for keeping everything under or in order in that building. And they really believe in his message and what he's doing. He went out and got his quarterback. The biggest question mark for him is going to be what you said, Phil, those coordinators, right? You know, this is, Belichick was, when he lost Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel, it took them a while to get back to a Super Bowl. You know, those were those dull years. I mean, they did go to the 2007 year, but after that, there was some space in between.
For sure.
So we'll see how he does in response to that. 39-28-1 as a head coach. 2 playoff wins, 2 losses. We'll see how it goes. But I really believe that he's got something cooking, even if I don't understand what it is. Another candidate to, hey, if you regress, you could easily just be on the honorable mention list because, you know, it's hard to get back on that mountain. But who is closing out your second tier, that number 6 spot? Who's closing that out?
Right. Another guy that you singled out, man. I'm going with another young guy. I'm going with Kyle Shanahan. No coach of the year accolades, but he is the only guy on this list to win an assistant coach of the year, and that's because of his great ability to build offenses and call plays. He is 78-66 overall as a head coach, including the playoffs, which he's 8-4. Unfortunately, those 4 losses always come in huge games, either the Super Bowl or the championship games. He's lost 2 Super Bowls and 2 NFC championship games as a head coach, which is, I can't imagine stomaching that. That's just insane. But the consistency to be able to get that far that often, you know what I mean? He's been to 2 Super Bowls and 2 championship games within 5 years. Like that's just, talk about consistency, talk about overcoming, you know, all those injuries and that sort of thing. Losing a guy like McCaffrey, you know, losing Brandon Ayuk, like they Kittle was banged up. That like they dealt with a lot, and you know, they just always find a way. And I look at the tree that he came from. I look at the people he's already developed, you know, into becoming head coaches, and I just think he's top tier. I mean, right on the cusp of being top tier, should I say, because I got him at number 6. And like you said, this is somebody that he could very well go up or down this list. I've been hard on the Niners this offseason. I think they got a tough hill to climb. So I'm interested to see how they follow up that 6-11 season from last year. You know, are you going to kind of be stuck in the mud? Are you going to make that big jump back to winning double-digit games, you know, 10 plus? You know, I'm interested to see what that looks like.
The division got better. I don't know if you're out of it better. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they do with that. My number 6, I can't put him in the top 5 because he was going too long. He's only been back for 1 year.
Okay.
I'm going Jim Harbaugh.
Yes, sir.
Now, a little bit of this, in retrospect, he probably should be lower. But I think a little of this is me predicting this season. I think the Chargers are going to be really good. Potentially could win that division and knock off the Chiefs, and win the AFC West. That's another tough division.
I mean, Geno said he ain't come to roll the dice. He came to run the table.
Hey, listen, I ain't mad at it. LA Chargers 11-6 last year after a hiatus. He won a national championship with your boys, your team, your squad.
Stop
Go
it.
Blue. Second in the AFC West in his return. Obviously, we know what he did in San Francisco. Was always successful there. Career record of 55, 25, and 1. That cannot be ignored. Everywhere he goes, he builds his he leaves his imprint on the team.
Yep.
Right. He's not a product of his environment. He makes his environment a product of him.
No, for sure.
He's like one of the reason.
He's like one of the most memorable Bears quarterbacks, and like I don't even think he was good for real, you know.
Yeah, I've never seen someone with more highlights than their losses. Like the famous game in the playoffs when Indianapolis played Pittsburgh, I think in '94, and the Hail Mary fell short. Like all of that, like bro, it's a famous clip, and I'm like, Jim Harbaugh didn't win nothing. Like the Chargers, the Colts, none of that.
None of that.
But it is what it is. But I can't ignore that record, and I think that's part of the reason why you've heard any kind of stories about Jim Harbaugh. That's why you can only last in certain places 4 to 5 years. He weighs on you. College is a little bit different because there is more of an authority gap where it comes like it's expected. These dudes are still 18, 19, 20. When it comes to grown men, there's only so much they can take this rigorous style. So he was only in San Francisco for 4 years, even though things were going well. His last year at San Fran was 8-8. Yeah. Once again, that's years ago. That was 2014. What have you done for me lately? But all I'm saying is he is a good coach that's going to establish himself. Like I said, first year back in a good division. Second, he couldn't upset a juggernaut of Kansas City, but I think he is going to go ahead and have a really big year. AFC West champions, and I almost guarantee that he's going to be in the top 5 next year.
Hey, yeah, it's hard to argue. Hard to argue.
All right. We got the top 5, and we got the cream of the crop. We got the 5 that are undoubtedly the best in the league. Phil, who takes that number 5 spot for you?
Jumping in at number 5, I'm going with a rusty veteran here. Super Bowl 44 winning head coach, coach of the year, and one of my favorite years, the year 2006. Overall 179 and 114 record, and took a garbage Denver team and has made a quick turnaround, and that's Sean Payton. I got him at number 5. Great offensive mind, just a great coach, a great teacher. He comes from that Bill Parcells coaching tree, and I mean, you talk about consistency. I mean, I think when he was in New Orleans from 2017 to 2020, I think they won that division 4 years straight. And then last year, I think they were 3rd in the AFC West, but snuck into the playoffs and was 3rd in the AFC West prior to that. But each year they've gotten like 2 games better or so. Like this is a team I could see being 12-5 this year. Bo Nix taking that next step. I was so low on Bo Nix, and to see him perform the way that he performed, I mean, he exceeded all expectations. So I'm really interested to see that jump he makes from year 1 to 2. They got I believe a solid running backs group over there. I think they improved that receiver room a lot. That defense was already really strong with Pat Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year. So yeah, I mean, I think they could have beat everybody's favorite team of Buffalo last year in the playoffs, but they did get ran. It got ugly. But yeah, Sean Payton's who I got number 5, and I definitely could see him continue to rise up this list because he's just he's arguably you can argue him for any one of these top spots. So.
Absolutely, hey man, it's my number 5 as well, Sean Payton.
Yes, sir.
18-16 as the Denver head coach. But I don't. Year 1, 8-9, Russell Wilson. He didn't pick Russ. That was kind of one of those arranged marriages. It didn't work out. With Bo Nix being a rookie, and it's not the fact that because you're saying, hey, 10-7, wow, what a big deal. Yeah. I get that, but like you said, Phil, I don't think anybody, and if you did, you didn't say it out loud. I don't think anybody thought Bo Nix was about to come in and do what he did and really be a solid NFL quarterback, actually above solid. It could be a really good NFL quarterback. He's got the weapons, like you said. I think with an extra year with Bo Nix in year number 2, and once again, that is the most compelling division in football to me. The AFC West. Everybody's gunning for that title. It's going to be a bloodbath
in that division. Yeah.
Trust me, we've been through plenty of our shares in the AFC North where it seems like every team, we're still in it.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in it. Like, we're still in the thick of it.
Ain't too many years away from it.
Yeah, ain't too many 2 years away from it. And between those two and the NFC North, those divisions are just loaded. Like, it's just crazy. It's gonna be funny to see. But I do think Sean Payton, for everything you said, deserves to be number 5 on this list. And
Absolutely.
When I said earlier, when I look at this across that sideline, makes me a little bit nervous. And we had probably the game of the year last year, Bengals and Broncos, especially with everything that was on the line, when we were able to beat them in overtime. But man, it took everything. It took a superhero Joe Burrow, T. Higgins performance.
Facts.
So yeah, shout out to Sean Payton. He's at number 5 for me.
All
Who you got at number 4?
Number 4, I've got Super Bowl 43 champion, the former UC Bearcat defensive backs coach, 191, 118, and 2 all time. None other than the culture builder himself. That black and yellow team that I hate to see every time we see him. It's Mike Tomlin. I know we talked about what have you done for me lately, but I mean, to be the only coach in the league to never have a losing record, no matter what they give him out there to work with. I mean, this dude went to the playoffs with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. Like, I mean, this like when you talked about when you look across and see Stefanski, like that's how I have felt about these recent Pittsburgh teams. Like, I don't think they're that good. Like, they are coached extremely well. Yes, they have TJ Watt and they have Minka Fitzpatrick and Highsmith. It really came on strong. But outside of that, man, they ain't got nothing. Like, baby Gronk, Pat Fryermuth has been underwhelming. They couldn't get Najee out of there.
Who calls him Baby Gronk?
That's been his nickname since he came in the league. Like, exactly. You see how it don't stick. You know what I'm saying? So he was supposed to be that. You know what I mean? And like, I just don't really think the teams that he's been given has been that talent. I think Pittsburgh is ran very similar to the Bengals, in my opinion. They don't overpay guys. They not signing a lot of big deals. They not going up getting a bunch of big outside free agents. This year has been crazy for them to go out and get Aaron Rodgers, go out and get DK Metcalf. Like, I don't think that's gotten enough attention the way that the Bengals have. Like, the Steelers are acting unusual. Like, they usually function like us. It's just that they have success, so they don't get talked bad about like we do. And I think that is the ultimate testament to Mike Tomlin. Like, that's the difference between having an elite coach and not. You know what I'm saying? Like, Marvin Lewis was a really good coach. That's why we went to 6 straight playoffs. You know what I'm saying? We didn't win any because he wasn't elite, but like, to be able to have success in organizations where you kind of almost feel like sometimes they fighting against you, like, that's just remarkable. Like, I mean, he's only missed the playoffs 3 times in the past 10 years. And like, I don't know, man. Like, I know he hasn't won them playoff games. I know it's been a lot of offers as of late, but I still think Mike Tomlin is that dude, especially when we see him on Hard Knocks. You see the way he delivers the messages, the way that he sits and builds those relationships with his players, involves his leaders. Like, Mike Tomlin's just next level to me. Like, the excitement that I would get about Sean McVay, I would get about any of these next quarterbacks we gonna talk about. So, I mean, next head coaches we would talk about. So
that's fair. Listen, I love Tomlin. So everything you said, I'm spot on with. I'm punishing or critiquing him for the recent success, but once again, legacy. I have no disagreements with anything you just said. I will play for Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's my head coach. He'd be one of those like, I ain't playing for nobody else but Mike. The next coach, Super Bowl 47 champion.
That's my
I'll explain. I'll explain why he's not number 3. So I think 1 and 2 are pretty solidified. I mean, you can really make an argument for him being number 2. I want to tell you something. Like I said, I know it's what have you done for me lately, which is why he's number 4.
Okay.
And he's done some great things lately. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't had a lot of talent and hasn't capitalized on it. I
Yep.
thought last year was a year, 2 years ago. I can't remember which season it was.
It's hard to argue
that they were favorites. But one of the most impressive things, Phil, and I didn't know this until I was doing the research for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
John Harbaugh has been in Baltimore for 17 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Only 4 of those seasons has he not finished first or second in the AFC North.
And
once again,
yeah,
only 4 of those 17 seasons has he not finished.
And he's only missed the playoffs 5 times.
Let's go to 2018. All right. So from 2018 on, AFC North champions 10-6. All right. Once again, no Super Bowl wins and all of this, but he did have, no Super Bowl wins, 1 AFC championship game win or appearance. 2018, 10-6, AFC North champs. 2019, 14-2, AFC North champs. 2020, 11-5, second in the AFC North. 2021 missed the playoffs, 8-9. 2022, 10-7, second in the AFC North. 2023, 13-4, first in the AFC North. That's the year they lost to the Chiefs. That's the year I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That team was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
2024, 12-5, AFC North champions. Lost to the Bills, which I still can't believe. I thought that team was in line to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Because of the talent that he had during these past couple of years, that's why he's at number 4.
Mm-hmm.
His overall coaching prowess can't knock him out the top 5. Like I said, you can make an argument for 2, even with no Super Bowl wins or no significant playoff wins, and I'm with it. 172 and 104 in his career, but just as I read from 2018 on, in the past 3 seasons, second AFC North, back-to-back champs. Hey, we're looking up at them. We're looking up at them.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones with the target. They're the ones we're trying to beat. So John Harbaugh is number 4 on my list. Who you got at number 3? I know you said he's your number 3, correct?
Yeah, Harbaugh is my number 3. The only other thing that I want to mention is that he was another coach that coached at the University of Cincinnati, special teams coordinator for 7 seasons. So the fact that the Bengals had that right up under their nose is kind of crazy to me, but that's neither here nor there. But I just wanted to mention he does have the most road playoff wins of any NFL head coach with 8. And that's really impressive to go on the road and win playoff games like that. So, you knocked it out the park on going over John Harbaugh. He's a big culture builder, just like his brother. Doesn't wear on you like Jim does, obviously, which is why he's been in Baltimore for 17 seasons. And I think Baltimore would keep him, as long as they possibly can. It's kind of wild, to think that he's 62, because when you look at him, he looks like he's in his late 40s, you know what I mean? So I don't know how much longer he's going to continue to want to go, but man, that's a great coach, and that's a team that I always hate going up against, partly because of John Harbaugh. So, like you said, you can argue. Like I said, you can argue him for any of these top spots here. And John Harbaugh is great coach. I like him a lot.
So number 3 for me, I can't make a list about head coaches going into the season and not include the coach who just won Super Bowl 59. You might not like him as a person, but you can't argue with a 70.6% winning percentage as a head coach.
That's fair.
9-8 his first year, second in the NFC East. 14-3 his second year, first in the NFC East. 11-6. In a year where they really started off hot. So that was more of a disappointing season. A disappointing season for this man is 11-6, second in the NFC East. And, of course, last year, 14-3. The only team that the Bengals played last year where I say they watched us. There's nothing we could have done. Nothing we could have done. The Eagles are just going to do that, and they dominated pretty much everybody. Dominated the Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni, he's got to be number 3 on my list. Do I personally think that he's in the same caliber as a Harbaugh or even a Peyton? Not necessarily. I still think he has more work to do. But, man, I can't argue the numbers. If I'm going to be yelling out from the mountaintops, what have you done for me lately? Well, it's hard to keep the Super Bowl winning coach, especially in a dominating fashion, especially when your track record says, hey, this didn't come out of nowhere. You've been good since 2021 when you entered your head coaching position in Philly. That's all I got to say about it, man. Like I said, are you the fan of him personally? That's up for debate. But from a football sense, the guy's got it. He can be the ultimate candidate for the letdown year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Eagles are too talented, don't get me wrong, but Sirianni just seems a little bit off the tracks. I can see them being 6-11 this year. I really don't think that. I think they're going to be really good and back in the playoffs and the whole nine. But that just shows how erratic he is. But man, dude knows his football. He gets results, and that's all I can say. Because, like I said, if it doesn't spiral in 2023, instead of 11-6, you might be looking at, I don't know, 13-4, 14-3, another back-to-back 14-3 seasons. That's my number 3 on this list. Who you got at number 2? We're at the top 2 now. And I'm assuming Sirianni didn't make your list.
He did not make my list. And I'm going to tell you why. One, I've never seen him coach a team that's not loaded. Even that 2021 team that was 9-8. You know, every team he's had is loaded. Like, he ain't faced no adversity. He ain't dealt with no major injuries. He's had incredible coordinators for the most part, you know. And I mean, we talked about it at length in different episodes. He's got the best front office in the league. Like, that's why he's got these loaded teams. Like, and you know, to see these conflicts that the team has had while winning, the AJ Brown situation, him and Jalen Hurts butting heads, like, that's crazy to me when we're talking about head coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't view him as a great leader, as a great coach. I think he's just in a great position. Now, I could be wrong. I would love to see how he does, you know, not having elite playmakers everywhere on both sides of the ball, not having arguably the best offensive line and defensive line in football. Like, I'm just not sold on him. You know what I mean? And that's not to say he can't break into my list and be as high as you have him next year, but I just don't have him. I just don't.
Listen, he 100% gives off the born on third base, thought he hit a triple energy. Like, he definitely has an embarrassment of riches. I get that. But to quote Sloan in Entourage, don't hate me because I'm popular. It ain't his fault he's been loaded with that. He's been making the most of what he has. I get everything you said. What does it look like? And that's part of the reason why my number 2 is where he is. And eventually one day going to be number 1 at some point. I'm very curious to know. Because we have the top 2. We have the same top 2. I know that for sure. And we don't share a list before we do this, but I just know based off how we're going. I wonder if we have them in order. Who's your number 2? Is it McVay or is it Reed?
My number 2 is Sean McVay.
Okay, so we're the same. I got Sean McVay at number 2. I got Andy Reid at number 1. Go ahead. What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, so Sean McVay. When I originally was putting this list together, I went 1 to 10, and the first name I put down, I'll be honest, it was Sean McVay. And the reason is because of the success and the impact that he's had in the short amount of time that he's been a head coach. I mean, he's 88-57 and already, you know, won Coach of the Year 2017. Like, that's crazy. Super Bowl champ 56. You know, I hate to talk about that. But I mean, like, I talked about it all the time. I think, was it last year or the year before? I thought that was his most impressive coaching performance because that team was doo-doo. That team didn't look like anything on paper. They were talking about McVay quitting, just walking away because the team was so bad. They started, you know, because they went all in. They traded all their picks to get players and, you know, just really went all in. And for them to hit on Jared Verse, to hit on Puka Nacua, like, a lot of that is Sean McVay. You know what I mean? He is the best when it comes to X and O's. He is the scheme master. You know what I'm saying? Even over Andy Reid, I think. And even though I've got Andy Reid in my top spot, Sean McVay, like you said, without a doubt, is going to be number 1 on this list. If not next season, the season after that, and maybe he might go down as the greatest. Like, if he really wants to be that, like, he's that type of special.
He's the and this is exactly what I was talking about with your point about the team not being that good. That's what I meant when we talked about Sirianni. Like, could Sirianni do that with a team like that? I don't think so.
No.
McVay is the ultimate. I forget who had this idea back in the day. But they talk about, like, coaching mentors, right? Like, a struggling teams who are supposed to be better than what they are. It might have been Bill Simmons. He just talked about, hey, you should hire someone to come in Like, if Belichick wasn't coaching Carolina right now, teams should say, hey, just come to training camp and just be like an assistant coach. You're not gonna stay on for the season. Build the culture. Let's set the tone for it.
Mm-hmm.
McVay is one of those people where if you put him on any team, their success level almost triples.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about it a little bit last year. Put McVay with this Bengals offense.
Yeah.
You put McVay with the Chiefs. You put McVay with anybody with an elite quarterback and weapons, on top of just his knowledge of the game and how he's a true head coach to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's not one of these guys, and all due respect to Ben Johnson, he hasn't got started yet. Mm-hmm. Ben Johnson came in as a play caller. Like, this is what he does. Yeah. Sean McVay is like, man, I know football and I love it. I want to make sure special teams is good. I want to make sure defense is good. Of course, I'm going to call the plays, but I'm going to make sure I get my hands and everything and my impact is made on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl champ, as you mentioned. Missed the playoff in 2022, 5-12. That was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if people forget they won the NFC West last year. They're the defending NFC West champs, not the Niners, not the Seahawks. So, yeah, even at a 10-2 record, I don't have enough more to say about him. He's just an incredible coach. And then, of course,
I was gonna say, in his 8 seasons, only missed the playoffs twice. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to another Super Bowl. Youngest head coach ever hired. Youngest to reach a Super Bowl. Youngest to win a Super Bowl. I mean,
not to mention, he's also if I put my hater hat on, for a second. I was born January 26, 1987. Sean McVay was born January 24th, 1986.
Yeah.
This is why they tell you don't comparisons to thief of joy, y'all. Because when I look at where my life is, and I live a good life. I live a good life. I'm not hurting. Like when I look at where I am and I look at somebody who's a year older than me, I'm like, damn it, Sean McVay. So shout out to Sean, man. He's definitely. When they talked about him quitting, I really don't feel this way towards coaches. I was like, no, it's not good for the game.
Yeah.
Like, we need a Sean McVay out here because he keeps things interesting, man. So he also, I want to give him credit for this. I mentioned Matt LaFleur on my list. I mentioned Kevin O'Connell. These are all before his 45. Kevin O'Connell, like I said, he's been started. He was in his 30s when he started. Kevin O'Connell, he was in his late 30s when he started with the Vikings. He's 40 now. Mm-hmm. That's the Sean McVay effect.
Yeah,
Sean McVay came in the league.
Bum ass Zach Taylor. Don't forget that. You know, the head coach at Washington, Jed Fish. A Staley who had the stint with the Chargers and had some early success and then kind of fizzled out. Raheem Morris, you know what I'm saying? So
you're gonna get a job if you with Sean, man. And if you're young and you a play caller, rinse and repeat. Yeah. What the great American poet Jason Phillips once say? Sound anything like Kiss, then sign right here.
For sure. Yeah.
If you anything like Sean McVay, sign right here. We'll hire you as a head coach.
I mean, it was the joke that if you had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay, you was getting a job. You know what I mean? So
the Sean McVay effect is a real thing, man. So
very real. Very. He's had more guys become head coaches under him than head coaches he was under.
That's crazy.
In 8 seasons. Like, that's insane. He basically, like, he's getting a guy promoted every year to a head coach, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It doesn't make any sense. Now we're going to get to number 1. Mm-hmm. Number 4 all-time in wins. Mm-hmm. 3-time Super Bowl champion. Done it with the Eagles. Career record of 273-146-1, 65% win percentage. Since he's joined the Chiefs and taken over that franchise as a head coach, his worst record was 9-7 in 2014. He's been there since 2013.
That was the only year he missed the playoffs with the Chiefs. The only year.
The only year with an above 500 record. And this is just incredible and ridiculous and dumb, what I'm about to say next. 7 12-win seasons in that time. 7 of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all know how hard it is to win 12 games in a season. Most of those were before they got the extra game.
Yeah.
So consistently going there. Now you can talk about all world talent, blah, blah, blah. But as we just mentioned about McVay, you put McVay on that Chiefs team, I don't think anything really changes. It's more so about how Andy Reid sees the game and the consistency over the time. It's hard to go into work every day in and be out and be successful.
Yeah.
And I had that target. A lot of people fall off that fatigue. Steve Kerr talked about it all the time when he says, hey, if Jordan never retired, which y'all won 8 in a row, he said, absolutely not. You know how hard that is for every year to be mentally focused, physically focused, have every break fall your way to keep going. It's not easy. So for them to keep stepping up, for them to have that respect, for them to still be the ones that we look at, so we got to beat the Chiefs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We never really had a rivalry with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I remember the closest thing was that year, I forget what year it was, when the Chiefs were 9-0 and they came to Paul Brown.
Oh, yeah. Ocho. That was
Ocho guaranteed the dub.
Was that
08, 07? Was it that early?
Okay.
I can't remember. Either way. Yeah, it might have been 05. Yeah, definitely went 07. Yeah. So Ocho guaranteed the dub. P-Dub, I think, had a punt return for a touchdown. Since then, you ain't really heard about the Bengals and Chiefs, nothing. But man, we on the scene. That's who we want to beat every single time. That's the team we love to hate. That is, you would have never thought we had another arch rival outside of our division.
Yeah.
But they're there. And that's because it's a respect thing for all the success that they've had and all the things that they build. And Andy Reid's leader of that. And you got to tip your hat to him. I don't know anything. I'll pass it over to you for anything you want to say. But he's just incredible. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I mean, 3-time Super Bowl champ, coach of the year all the way back in 02 is crazy. He hasn't won a coach of the year since 02. 301, 163-1 all time, including the playoffs. That's just crazy to still be doing it that long. And there's been that trend of talking about what have you done for me lately. 2018, they went to the AFC Championship game and lost. 2019, they won the Super Bowl. 2020, they lost the Super Bowl. 2021, they lost in the AFC Championship game to us. 2022 and 2023, they went back to back, and they was back in the Super Bowl last year, and legitimately could have a chance to get to a 4th straight Super Bowl this year. Now, I don't think they will, but they have a legitimate chance. Like it's not far-fetched by any means, and that is a true testament of Andy Reid. I mean, when you look at the playoff, the NFLPA ratings, like they have the worst rated owner in all of football. Like I know, like people like to think it's Mike Brown or Haslam or something like that, but it's the Hunts. It's them over there. Like the facilities is garbage. Like I mean, it's just, but they got a great head coach, arguably the greatest, and they got a great quarterback. You know what I mean? And those two things, when they're running the show, you know, that's peanut butter and jelly for Kansas City right there. And I mean, it's consistent.
And very well said. I don't know if it's fatigue, but one of the storylines that hasn't been talked about enough this offseason, we're about to get a very pissed off Kansas City team.
Yeah.
Just got embarrassed in February. Either they're going to be way too old or they're going to have a little bit left in the tank as far as some of their aging stars to really turn the heat up and remember, like, hey, we still here at the top of the mountain. You know, I hate when good teams get humbled because they can lock back in.
Yep.
I'm hoping the same for us. I think that we're going to do the same way. But that is going to be a team that's not going away. Just because they got washed last year in the Super Bowl, that team is not going. So we'll see what happens, man. But Andy Reid, I think, is undoubtedly. I would love to have a conversation with you if Andy Reid's not your number one head coach in the NFL, especially heading into the season. So, that's all I got. You got anything else before we wrap it up and talk about what's next?
No, I'm just hoping one day, you know, Zach Taylor make me confident enough to put him on this list. I don't ever see it happening, but I'm hoping. I'm hopeful.
That is, that's wild. Yeah. Or have a Bengals podcast and not even having as an honorable mention.
No, not even.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, man. Maybe he wins Coach of the Year this year. You know,
Let's see.
With that being said, that's it. It's been good to be back. We were going to be continuing this every single week, dropping an episode. So next week, of course, we're going to have more training camps observations. That is going to be the last episode before we actually talk about the first preseason game. We'll get a little bit more updates on what's going on in camp, some position battles, maybe more saga on Trey and Shemar, the whole nine. And then, of course, as far as our top 10 list, we'll be discussing offensive line and defensive line units, top 10 of each. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. Please remember to like, subscribe, share. Write us in, man. Let us know about these lists. What do y'all think? Who's crazy? Who's spot on? Everything. Be a part of this conversation. We will definitely read your information on the pod. With that being said, Phil, we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, sir. Who they?
Who they?